Hi and welcome to the Army Showcase. The Army Showcase showcases different armies from different games. In this showcase, we are going to have a look at Warlord Games' Epic Battles American Civil War. Now I'll be showing you a few of the bases painted by Basir. In fact, this whole feature is done by Basir. I was actually looking forward to feature this range from the Epic Battle set, only because this was actually the set before the Epic Battles Waterloo set that came out a while after. And I've done quite a lot of videos for Epic Battles Waterloo. It just made sense to have a look at Epic Battles American Civil War just to see where they drew inspiration from, if at all any. So this video features figures from Epic Battle American Civil War, the starter. I sat up with Basir and asked him to give me a quick review of the ACW starter, and well, he was more than happy to oblige. Now, to be honest, I didn't really get the American Civil War set because it wasn't a period I'm very familiar or interested in. But I was very curious to know. So he told me that the plastic frames in the set consisted of two different colors, the blue and the grey, which is the same for both infantry and artillery. There was actually no flash that you could find on the frames, and the fact that they were made out of hard plastic. So it is pretty much consistent with what was happening with Epic Battles Waterloo. But he reiterated that the blue and grey frames are both the same. So in essence, you can actually take the starter set and paint all of them as Union or all of them as Confederates. It's perfectly alright. He commented that the details and the figures were crisp and clear, and well, it allowed a lot of details to be done and painted when he was working on it. I asked him what colors he used for his figures, and he was nice enough to give me a quick list. So for the Union Infantry, he did the tunic in Army Painter Dark Sky, the trousers in Army Painter Electric Blue, belt and shoes in Army Painter Matte Black, the bulk on chest and the belt rifle in Gritty Gold. The rifle was done in Oak Brown and Gunmetal. The hat and cap were done again in Dark Sky. The water canteen in Wolf Grey, and the hair and facial hair was done in Oak Brown and sometimes black. The general on horseback, for the Union, he did the hat in black, in the uniform in deep blue, the belt and boots in black, the insignia in demonic yellow, the sword in gunmetal, the horse in chaotic red, the tail and mane in black, and the hooves in dirt splatter. Which I thought was very interesting because chaotic red for the horse, well, I think it was a very interesting choice. For the artillery piece, he used true copper for the cannon, angel green for the carriage, and black for the cannonballs. And for the artillery crew, the tunic was Dark Sky, Army Painter's Dark Sky, the trousers Army Painter Electric Blue, the belt and shoes matte black, the buckle on the chest and belt Gritty Gold, the ramming rod Oak Brown and black, the hat and cap Dark Sky and black, the water canteen Wolf Grey, and hair and facial hair again Oak Brown and black. He did give me a list for the Confederates. For the infantry, the tunic, he used Monster Brown and Leather Brown. The trousers, again, the same Monster Brown, yet Leather Brown. The belt and shoes, Leather Brown. The buckle on chest and belt, Gunmetal. The rifle was Oak Brown and Gunmetal. The hat and cap, Monster Brown and Leather Brown. The water canteen, Leather Brown. Hand, facial hair, Oak Brown and black. So basically, he kept some of the palettes pretty consistent when it came to the human character, but he also, I was very curious that he chose browns for his Confederates. For the general horseback, he did the hat in uniform grey, the uniform also uniform grey, the belt and boots in leather brown, the insignia in demonic yellow, the sword in gunmetal, the horse in oak brown, the tail and mane in black, and the hooves was done in dirt splatter, which is interesting. The artillery piece was done using weapon bronze for the cannon, dirt spatter for the carriage, and cannonballs were done in matte black. As for the crew, the tunic, trousers were done in uniform grey, the belt and shoes, leather brown, the buckle on the chest belt, gunmetal, the ramming rod, oak brown, the hat and cap, uniform grey, The water canteen, ash grey, hair and facial hair, oak brown, and insignia, pure red. Now, actually, this brought me to the most obvious thing to ask after giving me his painting list, or the paints that he's using. And I asked him why he actually used brown for his Confederates. And he said whereas grey was a more popular and well-known color, the reason that he wanted to go for a butternut or light tan look for his Confederates. So he claims that at the start of the conflict, grey was the color of the Confederate uniform, but weathering, and as time goes on, the grey would fade and it would take an appearance of a brownish color because of the dirt, because of the quality of the dye. So he decided to depict the Confederates in a more battle-worn style. He also realizes this may not be historically correct to a lot of historical painters, but he also wanted the Confederate regiment to look good on the tabletop. So, this was a personal choice going for the browns. Personally, I like how these look. Basir went for a nice battle-worn uniform look. It's very nice, and it contrasts with the uniform, clean, bright colors. You can actually differentiate both sides of the force. These boys, actually, they look like they've been through hell. The commanders do have a little bit of brown in them, which shows that, with a little bit of rank comes a little bit of privilege and perhaps a bar of soap. But I was looking around, and there's a reference of what a worn uniform looks like. And here's the picture right here. And I think Basir got pretty close to match here. Now, as for the bases he claims were first covered with Vallejo's brown earth gel, and when dry, he used Army Painter's field green throughout. The painting process was done alternately by bases. He began with the Union infantry and then with the Confederates until all the sprues on the frame were based. This is how he completed base by base. The front row and the back row of the figure were first primed using uniform grey, and then these figures were painted twice, letting the first layer dry before applying the next layer. After blocking out the colours, let it dry, and then, what he claims is the magic moment, which is basically his secret mix of strong tone and quick shade wash mixing medium in equal portions. He used it to cover the two rows of the figures and let it dry for a few hours. Now, that's very important though. When you're working with quick shade, let it dry, let it properly cure. And when the figure dried, they will have a nice shade tone to it, and it'll break up the details. So this is really nice. Block out the colors and then wash it down with a quick wash. The Union Force is actually based on the first main uniform. And it was nice that he actually labeled this under his base. But I do like how the Union Force was done. It's very clean, very bright, a huge contrast to the Confederate force. As for the cannon, the base for the cannon is a rectangular green plastic base. So what he did was he painted the gun crew the same way he painted infantry. He used Vallejo's brown earth gel to cover the base, painted it with dead spatter, then applying PVC glue, he put on the Army Painter's field grass, static grass, shaking off the excess as per usual. The cannon was then painted and highlighted. When assembling the cannon to its carriage, he just told me to make sure that to cut half the stub on the wheel on both wheels. This would actually enable the cannon to fit snugly and the cannon wheels to stay upright. I would take his word for it, because I'm not so sure if I'll ever be basing American Civil War artillery piece. But there you have it. He told me that figures were only painted on Sundays and public holidays, so that's really great. That's actually fantastic for those of us who have very limited time to paint. So he actually blocked out painting time, like I said, in his case, Sundays and public holidays, and they were only done in the day for the best amount of light, which is great, because this shows that, if you keep a consistent schedule, all figures can get done reasonably well and reasonably fast. As I said earlier, he painted the bases one base at a time, alternating between Union and Confederate bases. Once the infantry was done, he did the artillery and then the generals. This way, he felt the whole army would be completed around the same time. Now, Basir is very much into this period. He told me the decision to get the set was even easier because it was plastic, and he's actually very comfortable with plastic figures. In fact, the scale had something to do with it as well. He thought the scale was pretty attractive. So when I asked him what the final thoughts he had for the starter, he claims that it's a great set to start with. And you know what? I agree. It looks like it's got everything in it. It comes with plastic figures, rule books, scenario books, and it comes with some scenery as well. Yes, it does take time for you to paint. But yeah, I guess if you're sharing a set, which is also a good idea, 2 people can take up the responsibilities for painting both the different armies. But even if you don't, again, both figures come in separate colored plastics, so you can actually play them right out of the box. The box set looks really good. The starter looks really good. And I'm actually quite impressed at how the sculpts look. In fact, I'm even more impressed by how Basir painted them. So yeah, well done, Basir. Hope to see more of your stuff on the channel. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. When I first saw this, some samples of his paintwork, I couldn't wait for him to give me some more figures to feature. In fact, he actually finished these few bases very quickly for me so that I can actually feature them and let you have a look at his American Civil War starter set. So yeah, if you like videos like this, do give us some encouragement with a comment or a like or subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.